Hi and welcome back to the channel. It's been a while again, as it often is, and apologise for that. Seen some shorts, so if you've watched the shorts then you'll be roughly up to date with where we are. But in terms of long form videos, essentially the last time you saw the car, it was Chortle was here, we were replacing the roof. And so if that's the last bit you saw, then let's show you where we are now. Alright, so as you can see, the interior is now in. Not complete, we still need to put the door handles on, window winders, that sort of stuff. We've got new seals in here, still got to do the ones in the back. We need the parcel shelf sorted out, but come around the car a little bit. You see the rear lights are in. Bumpers on, starting to put the body kit back on, but then we ran into something of a problem. So I thought, well, I've got the engine back in, that's great, and the gearbox and everything, new clutch, water pump, replace the timing belt, all that sort of good stuff. There goes the ratchet, and so found the battery. I lost the battery. How the hell do you lose a battery in a garage this size? But no, nevertheless, we lost the battery. I lost the battery, and so we thought we'll hook it up and we'll see how we go. Let's give it a start. I had the rad pack and the rad in and everything, fan and all that stuff. Anyway, so the engine was locked solid. I'd turn the engine over when we replaced the timing belt twice to make sure it was timed correctly. There was no interference or anything like that. Everything turned over fine, virtually by hand actually, which may not bode very well for compression, but we'll see how we go. And the gearbox also operated by hand as well, in gear and out gear, no problems at all. And so I thought, well, okay, everything's fine. Put everything back together, back in the car. That was an absolute cow to do. And the engine was locked solid, wouldn't turn with a spanner, wouldn't turn on the starter motor. Bought a new starter motor, which is down there, sorry for the mess. And it's just locked solid. And I thought, well, this is crazy. So I couldn't face taking the engine back out again. So I thought, well, I'll take out the gearbox and we'll see if, because both pieces turned beforehand, which made me think that, the engine shouldn't be seized as such. And instead it must be something to do with how I put it back together again. And turns out that's correct, because taking the gearbox back off and the engine turns and the gearbox turns. And so what did we find? Well, when I put the new pressure plate on, so I bought this new clutch kit from a reputable supplier. I'm not going to say who right now. I bought the wrong one first time round, had to return that. Then got some advice and bought the right one. When it turned up, everything looks all right, except that the pressure plate, which is the bit you saw in the end of the engine there, was absolutely too tight for the crank bore. I thought, well, okay, I can probably tap this on and I can, torque the bolts down and it'll probably pull itself into place, right? So it wasn't centimeters or inches too small. It was just a slight bit too small, bit tight. Anyway, so we did all that, put everything back together again, and once I took the gearbox back off, rotated the engine around, you could see that the pressure plate's doing this, so it's obviously not flat. And so essentially what I've had to do is hog it out with the Dremel and a flat wheel in the center bore. Now, feel free to jump into the comments and tell me I'm an absolute idiot. But I didn't see another option other than returning it and getting another one, which might not have been any better. The other thing I tried was sort of a cheap hone system, which is not focusing. Cheap honing stones from Amazon. Obviously, that's not the right tool for the job. The stones themselves just got worn away, so that's garbage. Don't do that if you're ever in the same situation. That's gone down the back of the compressor, probably the best place for it. However, the multi-tool Dremel, whatever you want to call this thing, this one's Black & Decker, not sponsored obviously. It has lasted me for years though, and it's done really well. And these are from the middle of Lidl, this 80 grit flat wheel. Actually, all I did was just sort of gently go round and round and round inside the ball, and it worked like a charm. Basically, the crank I think was, what was it now? It was 40.1 millimeters, having measured it with a vernier. The bore inside the pressure plate itself was 39.9, so we needed to lose 0.2 of a millimeter, and so that was just enough. Now the pressure plate fits onto the end of the crank. I sort of hand tightened up the bolts, ready to go. Somebody's going to talk to me about flywheel bolts and the fact that they're one-time use only and stretch and blah blah blah. Things not been anywhere yet. I'm hoping they'll be okay. And we've turned the engine over now, and it all looks good. So fingers crossed. We'll put the gearbox back together and everything will be okay. Well, we still have this thing still in its stillage. Got a 2-post ramp. Still looking for somebody to probably install this into the garage, because yeah, this is heavier than I expected, and I don't have the equipment, SDS drills and stuff, to actually get this installed. So if anybody does know anybody in the Midlands in England that can come and install this, let me know in the comments.